Welcome to Session 0, Part 2 of the Valash Vampiric Saga. In the first episode, our heroes all met in the small village of Phoenix Nest. They managed to prevent some enforcers from stealing some money from the landlord of the tavern. They met a few unique and interesting NPCs, and then they finally boarded a boat. Mullac.
Yes.
How's your adventure going so far?
It's going great. It's everything I'd hoped for so far. A bit of drama, a bit of crime, and made new friends.
Fantastic. And Angharage. Got it correct.
You got it.
Angharage, how's it going for you?
It's going pretty good. I've learned that I'm allowed to murder people under certain consequences.
Context.
What's context?
There will be consequences.
And I made an origami paper thing, so pretty happy.
Yemmara,
Yes.
how's it gone for you?
Really well, actually. I've hit some really good targets, which I was surprised about. I was like, there's not going to be good rolls this early on. But actually, no, I've hit my target every single time. I never miss.
Leaving the small fishing village of Phoenix Nest, they boarded the Lady Luck, a small ship captained by Captain Liam. They have sailed out into the open ocean to the north, where they are attempting to reach Sailor's Rest, another small village that contains potentially some answers for some of their questions. Yemmara is looking about her heritage. We have got Angharage wanting to prove that she can go it alone in the world, and we have Mullac attempting to just find adventure and riches. Along with that, we have a couple of NPCs they've met. They met the extremely shy priest brother Nathaniel, who's unsure of what to do in life and is going on a pilgrimage to the church at Sailor's Rest. They met the rather eccentric, ne'er-do-well swashbuckler Francois Pumpernickle III, who loves fighting so far, and then the rather solitary Mix, the alchemist. We left our party on board the Lady Luck ship in the middle of the ocean, just as 5 massive tentacles reached up from around the side of the ship in an attempt to hug it and drag it down to the watery depths below. As soon as the tentacles burst forth and the shower of water spread across the deck, our heroes jumped into action. Mullac.
Yes.
You were told by Captain Liam to grab something sharp and pointy. You then said why, and the tentacles emerged massively out of the water, almost this pre-victorious rupture going up into the sky, and he said, that's why. Have you ever fought a giant squid?
No, it's one of the few things I haven't. I wasn't prepared for this in the slightest.
Good, that's what I like to hear. And Angharage, have you ever fought a massive sea creature? Because you've never been on a boat before, have you?
I didn't even think they existed, to be honest, so I'm in awe at the moment.
And Yemmara, while you're skilled with fire, you're now taking on something that comes from water, which means you may be at a disadvantage. How are you feeling about that?
I've only read about them, but I think that we have enough people, especially with Francis on board, that will be okay.
Captain Liam seems to have fought sea creatures like this before, and so he simply runs around, grabs the nearest stick that he finds on the deck, which thankfully has a rather sharp, pointy end, and then runs toward one of the edges of the ship. Lifting his leg up and standing on the very edge and leaning over the banister around the edge of the ship itself. He can't quite reach far enough to actually stab any of the tentacles themselves, but they're not wrapping around the ship yet. They're kind of flailing into the air. Everyone roll a d20.
I didn't even
14.
roll it properly. 6.
2.
Mullac,
Yes.
you realise that danger is afoot first. Massive tentacles flailing out the water. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go for a heroic leap with the rapier, and although it's not meant for slashing, I'm just going to go for a big slash. It's squishy, I'm hoping it'll work.
Are you leaping off the boat effectively
No.
toward the tentacle?
So I'm imagining I'm running across the deck, boost up off like a crate, and just go for a big slash at one of the tentacles.
The tentacles are quite far away from the ship right now, but what they are doing is lashing forward and backward. And
Yeah.
as one of them lashes forward over the ship, it's just about within range of you leaping up and maybe cutting it with just the tip of a rapier.
That's
Is that
the plan, yeah.
Roll a d20.
Okay. 15.
15. You sprint along the actual deck. Describe how you would jump.
I one leg up on the crate and just try to go for kind of like a springboard off the, bendy planks and just launch up.
As you run toward the crate itself, it's actually the crate that isn't nailed down anymore. The lid of the crate has been removed, but the lid is still there. It's just not nailed. And as soon as Brother Nathaniel kind of peeks his head up over the top, just out of the little decking, just see what's going on from down in the depths of the ship, he sees you running across and he kind of works out what you're about to do. And he thinks, I can help just a little bit. So he kind of scurries out onto the top and kneels down next to it and kind of puts his hand underneath the actual lid itself. And as soon as you jump up and your foot touches that lid, with all his strength, which is not much, but bless him, he's trying. He pushes the lid up as much as he can and almost boosts you up into the air. You get about 2 or 3 feet more jump than you expect. You draw your rapier out. The tentacle slashes over the ship with all the little suckers on the side of it, and you describe the attack.
I go for a full arching swing above my head and try and pierce the underside of the tentacle.
The tip of the rapier is not specifically meant for slashing, but it's against a very squishy tentacle right now, so it slices into it quite deeply. In fact, as soon as the slice is finished, an almost thin sheen of clear blood just starts dripping straight from it down. It almost actually splashes over Nathaniel as he's standing underneath on the box. And then as the tentacle begins to writhe around from being hit, a thin sheen of horrible blood sprayed across, a very, very fine mist, the entire ship. It's not dead, but it pulls back for a second. You land on the deck. As you land on the deck, who was next in the initiative order? I believe it was Rage.
Yes.
Yeah, you're next.
Yeah. So last episode you described that Frankie P did a jump onto the tentacle.
What's happened right now is Sir Francis Pumpernickle III has ran toward the end of the ship, leaped up onto the actual barrier on the end, and jumped off the ship. He's effectively overboard right now, flying in the air with his mace pulled back toward him. I think his plan is to almost hug the tentacle when he hits it and just start smashing it with his mace when he gets onto it. I don't think he's thought too far ahead from where he's going to go with this, but the last thing you saw was him sprint. Callum Mullac leapt off and sliced through. As that happened, Francois leapt off the other side with a mace. So they've jumped toward the tentacles. Yes.
Awesome. I do exactly the same.
Same tentacle that he's going for, or a different one?
So I will go for a tentacle that's next to Frankie, and I'm in total awe by what he's done because he's so cool. So I want to do exactly the same. I want to run, jump off the boat, and just hug a tentacle with my warhammer in my hand. I'm just gonna drive it down onto the
roll a d20.
20. The 20 on the thing. It's a 12.
To 12. It's not the greatest of jumps. So you run, you sprint, you jump up, you leap over the side of the actual ship itself, pushing yourself off the arm guard. Now, Francois has clearly made a lot more distance than you have. He's jumped off things before. And as he slams himself onto this large, wet tentacle and then just starts wailing on it with his mace instead, you look to the side, see that happening, you leap, but you don't jump far enough. So you're not able to grab the tentacle out of the water. In fact, you fall quite close to the water, and as you fall down, you just manage to grab the base of the tentacle, but as you grab the base of the tentacle, it pulls down a few feet, pulling you underwater with it. You're able to just about get your bearings, and as you look down, you just see a huge, horrible black mouth with grey fangs opening up underneath, half the size of the boat itself. These tentacles would be able to pull it into a giant crunching maw. It closes again, and the tentacles start to pull down even more.
I've just seen you basically off the ship. So is she off the side now?
She's leapt off the side of the ship, grabbed hold of the tentacle, and then been pulled underwater.
Okay, as that happens, I tie a bit of rope, whatever. If I can I find a bit of rope and tie it around my middle?
You can.
Tie it to the main part of the ship, and I'm gonna look over the edge to see if I can see her, and I'm gonna jump over and try and grab her hand, but in my other hand, I want to get a fireball ready.
Okay.
And I want to try and cast it into the depth of its mouth.
So you want to tie yourself to a rope, tie the rope to the stem of the ship itself, leap off so you are effectively anchored to the ship, grab Rage's hand just as she goes underwater, and as you breach the surface of the water as well, fire an underwater fireball. It's going to be difficult because obviously you're going to have to take some seriously dense fire magic that compensates the fact you're underwater. So roll a d20, but this will be difficult.
Please don't be low. 6.
6. You run. You leap. The rope that you've tied around your middle holds taut. It does pull back and snap quite powerfully when you actually reach the length of the rope, and you feel it tug on your spine quite painfully, but you've left yourself just enough slack to throw your hands down and rage. You see, as you are being dragged underwater, you look down, you see this gaping mouth beneath you. You look up and you see this hand coming towards you. You reach up and you grab the hand just about. You'd have to let go of the tentacle in order to hold onto the hand. Are you willing to do that?
Let go. Are you underwater? Are we underwater?
You are underwater.
You're
You are above water. Your hands
okay.
are actually right now clasping within the actual water level itself.
Oh, fine. Okay. Yeah, I let go.
You let go, and Yemmara, you are able to pull. So because the rope is pulled taut, it falls back to the side of the ship, but you are both just above the water level now. As you pull back, you are able to give it a quick crack on the tentacle with your hammer itself. So roll a d6.
What's the D6? 3.
3. You are able to smack into the side of the tentacle as you pull away, and you feel it not just squish, but something crack inside. And the tentacle itself starts to flail, but not in an aggressive way, more of a in pain, just kind of jumping around, jerking around way. You haven't taken it fully out of action, but it's definitely in pain. You look over to the side and see that Francis is having a great time. He's actually managed to get one of his hands with the buckler on it and punch it into one of the suckers on the tentacles, which has itself closed around his hand, which he is using as an anchor point to effectively just hang off. Use his legs to kick himself away and then pull his mace up and just slam it every time he kicks away and then just slams back in. And he's slowly, even though it's a blunt mace, effectively sawing his way through one of the tentacles by just hitting it repeatedly.
Cool.
And every time it's just like, huzzah! Hooray! Tally-ho! Here we go! Goodness me! Just keeps hitting it every single time. He even looks over at you. Oh! Good idea! He pulls back and then tries to hit even harder using the mace as a hammer, as he's just seen you and been inspired to do. Brother Nathaniel is still incredibly timid on the deck, but he stands up, and as one of the tentacles reaches over the ship, he sees it's the one that you've cut before. He looks up and he realizes he could probably do something, but not much. The tentacle itself starts to fall toward the ship, almost to wrap around it. And as the tentacle gets close enough to touch the ship, Nathaniel holds his hand out, you see it start to glow again, and he reaches up and just touches it. And as it does, it immediately sizzles, starts to burn it, and it flails away. But as that happens, you can see that he's shaking his hand in serious pain because he's summoned so much heat into his hand for the time being. Mix is standing over by the side, just looking through a various amount of vials he's got. He takes one off, pulls a small pin from it, and throws it at one of the tentacles in the distance, and completely misses. And it just falls into the ocean. You can see him cursing himself from doing it. Captain Liam is still just jabbing away at one with a bit of a spear and not making too much of an advance at all. Mullac, you've seen all this happen.
Yeah, I run over to Mix, who's just failing at throwing magical grenades at a tentacle. I run up and I'm like, right, let me sort this out. Let me have a go. And I just rip one off his belt, and I don't know what it is, and I just wail it at the tentacle he aimed at.
Roll the d20.
That's a 9.
You go to grab one of the things on his belt. As soon as you do, he grabs your wrist as well and stops you. Simply looks at you. Do not touch any of these. Make sense? Definitely not that one.
As he's got my hand, I just get my thumb, flick the pin out of it, and I just stare him dead in the eyes.
He realizes what you've done, pulls off one of it, and just launches it as far as he can away from the ship, not even aiming at the tentacle. As he has launched it as far as he possibly can, he sprints across the deck and dives head first down the steps into the bottom.
I follow.
You follow?
Yes.
Roll the d20.
That's 14.
14. You manage to follow, but as you do, you see Brother Nathaniel, having just shaken his hand, having burnt one of the tentacles, kind of eye you as you run across, and you realize that Nathaniel is completely oblivious to anything that's about to happen.
I grab him again by the scruff of the neck, and we're going downstairs, buddy.
And just diving down the stairs with him as well. As that's happening, Rage, you are currently holding the hand of Yemmara, and you've just cracked the tentacle with this huge big thing, and you've just seen some kind of weird object fly over into the distance, being thrown off the ship. What are you doing?
Okay, so Which way did the thingy fly? Did it fly over us?
The ship right now is actually being almost tossed and turned around by some of the tentacles underneath, suckering to the actual base of it, throwing it around. So you saw it fly and you think it's over in the distance somewhere close to you, but you honestly can't be quite sure where it is. You know that it's only as an arm's throw away.
Okay. I would like to use my turn to hoist us back up. So with
Grabbing
Yemmara in my hand, I want to pull us up with the other.
So you're using your one hand and feet to effectively climb a rope one-handed.
And then,
Okay,
that
roll a
kind of
d20.
Don't drop me.
Do I get a modifier?
We'll see how well you roll.
5?
5.
Yeah.
Can you help her?
I can help you.
Yep.
I have feet.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I have feet and a hand free. 20.
Nice.
Describe how you would aid using fire magic.
Every time that she lets go to jump up, I do like a little
Burst.
little Iron Man.
Little boost
shoot.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Every single time you pull
Little
yourself up,
jetpack.
you think you're pulling up far more than you actually are, because as you do, Yemmara is just boosting with some flames. Not much, because you can't generate a huge amount of force, because you've still
I
got
also
to
don't want to burn the ship.
you've still got to take
Yeah.
the force through your hands, through your arms, through your shoulders, and you can't dislocate anything. So just a little boost, but you do manage to, working together by pulling on the rope and boosting, flop yourselves back onto the deck. And you're able to do it just in time that as soon as you roll onto the deck, you just catch Mullac's feet diving headfirst down into the hold below. And you've just realized that nobody else is on the actual deck, apart from Captain Liam, who's standing over in the corner still, using a spear to try and keep one of the tentacles at bay.
On my go?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay. Then I would like to rage. And I would like to use my Tome Spirit of the Eagle, which means I can dash as a bonus action.
Okay.
And I'm dashing towards Captain Liam.
You dash toward Liam. Liam doesn't even realize that you've ran up to him straight away, but he just looks and decides he's not quite sure what to say. He's too focused right now on trying to keep this massive thing back. He's just staring at you while holding a spear.
I grab the spear off him and I look him in the eyes and say, "Go down now, go."
He's still unsure what to do. He's almost in shock at this point. He's never seen a squid this big. You're going to have to do something to make him do this.
Pull the spear so he falls towards me.
Yep.
And go headbutting.
Roll a d20.
14.
You pull him toward and you smash him in the head and he's quite dazed.
I just want to scream in his face. A little bit of spit flies out. So it's kind of like, a bit of a wet thing. And I scream like, "Move!"
He just about realizes what you want, stumbles backwards and ends up falling backwards, arse first, down into the hold. You are currently lying on a pile in the hold.
Yep.
A priest has been slammed onto the floor next to you.
Yep.
The dude that had all of the Alchemex mix has jumped in as well. And then you see a captain barrel roll himself down. So pretty much everyone's here.
Good news.
Apart from Francis.
I'm not there
Oh
either.
no.
You aren't down either. You have just seen Rage effectively headbutt the captain and throw him into the hold. And you are lying on the deck of the ship with these tentacles still flailing over. And they're flailing closer now as well. And you can feel the ship itself starting to be pulled around more and dragged about.
Okay. So everyone's getting underneath though because of the flying, whatever it was that I didn't see.
Mix threw some kind of vial off his bandolier that Mullac pulled the pin on. No one knows what's in the vial, but Mix
Okay.
just dived, and so everyone copied.
Okay, I'm going to stay on the top because
You need to protect Francis.
Exactly.
Someone's got him.
I'm going to run over to Francis and
Francis
see what
is
he's
still,
doing. What's he
Francis
up to?
himself is still hugging one
I
of
was
the
gonna say, is he
tentacles,
still on
slowly
the
soaring
tentacle?
through. But the tentacle he's been hitting repeatedly with a mace has now almost all the way through and is just hanging off at a horrible angle with a bloody stump coming out the center of it, with blood gushing out the side, and it's just kind of jerking around quite a lot.
I think it's time to move on.
What?
I think you've done enough to that one.
Ah, we definitely are taking down the big one.
No, there's 6 more.
What?
Tentacles.
Fun.
Get back on board the ship.
Fantastic. He turns around and quickly pulls himself up in one swift movement to stand on top of the bloody stump that he's made, and then leaps toward the ship. He's never going to make that jump, but he's looking at you as he leaps. He's almost hoping you're part of this plan. leaps and holds his arm out.
I'm going to see if there's a nearby rope that's hanging from some sort of...
There is, but you aren't sure if it's important.
Well, I'm going to find out. I'm going to just grab the nearest rope I can and throw it towards him and hope that he can catch it.
Grab the nearest rope and you throw it toward him.
Yeah.
He leaps forward, he grabs it. Unfortunately, it's not connected to the main body of the ship. It's quite high up on the mast. So as the ship is turning, suddenly Francois is thrown, swinging almost in a circle around the ship. He looks at you and thinks, what a bloody brilliant idea! As he flies past one tentacle, he smacks it with the mace and continues in the circle and smacks the other and continues and then smacks the other as he goes. You've effectively thrown him in a huge circle around the ship now as he's hanging from this rope, just cracking the tentacles as he goes next to them.
Nice. Okay, cool.
As that happens, you hear a faint pop and then a sound of glass shattering. You look over toward where the orb was, floating in the sea by now, and a small electrical crackle just starts to fizz out from it. And as the electrical crackle fizzes out, a massive bolt of lightning congeals in the sky and just slams into the place where the orb was, followed by another and another. It's almost like it's a lightning rod calling it from the sky itself, smacking into the ocean every single time, slowly getting further away from where the orb broke. What are you doing?
Further away from where the orb broke.
Yes, closer to you.
Okay.
It's almost like a line of lightning bolts hitting from the sky, and you are currently in the line's path.
Okay. Can I go towards where the
big wheel is?
Where the wheel is?
Yep.
Ship's navigation unit. And I'm going to try and move the boat. I know that we've got... I'm going to try and see if I can like swing the boat all the way...
Swing it sideways.
I'm going to just see if I can move it in a certain way.
Roll
so
the D20.
Maybe a tentacle will get hit with the lightning that's now moving. That was cocked. I'll do it again. Oh, that wasn't even in. That was a 20. It wasn't in the tray, but...
Yemmara runs up, grabs the wheel, and just spins it. You expect far more weight behind it, but you just spin. And as you do, the ship lurches to the side, which is almost a benefit to Francis as he's swinging around. It's like, hooray! And then gets to crack it even some more. He's having a fantastic time. The guys in the hold, you all lurch to the side and roll. In fact, Mix, Mullac, and Nathaniel all roll together into a big heap. The captain is pretty much just laid out on the floor like this, so he's not rolling too much by now. He's alive, but his head hurts a lot. As the ship lurches and spins, it almost drags part of the squid to the side with it. And as it drags it to the side, a few of the tentacles have to rearrange themselves to keep hold of the ship as it's moving. And as they do, one of the tentacles happens to fly right over where the next lightning strike would be, take the full brunt of this force of nature directly onto it, and as soon as it hits it, it just shivers up and then falls back into the ocean. There are now 4 tentacles sticking out the side doing something, and the lightning seems to have stopped. Brother Nathaniel is shaking his head, who stands up. He's like, there are people out there. I can do something. And begins to run back up the steps again out onto the top. And as soon as he gets back out, he realizes again that he wants to help, but he has no idea how to take on something like this. So just kind of looks around, hoping that some kind of opportunity will present itself. Mullac.
So I sprint back up. I follow Nathaniel out, and I see that he's staring at this tentacle, like wanting to do something. So I play a flute tune to try and stun or temporarily put the tentacle to sleep so that he can do something.
Roll the D20.
12.
Water reverberates at certain frequencies. And while you may not necessarily know a hold person or a hold creature spell, you do understand basic bits of science combined with esoteric bits of magic. And so by playing the flute that you carry everywhere with you, you are able to, while not stunning this tentacle, momentarily force its movements into a bit of a rhythmic pattern before it goes back to whatever it was doing before. And that rhythmic pattern, that small moment, is all you need. Once you've done that, Nathaniel kind of looks towards you and he's like, what do I do?
That's all you. What can you do?
I can burn it.
Yes, do that.
He runs toward the edge of the ship and stands there. He leans his arm out and he's just not close enough to grab it. But he realizes that he can do something, and so focuses as hard as he can, and you see his hand heat up again. In fact, the white begins to expand out. The glow of the sun reaches away from his skin this time, and the moment it touches the tentacle, it shrivels up, shrieks, and almost falls back down. And as soon as that's happened, Nathaniel's gaze relaxes. The light pulls back in, and you can see that his hand is charred and black, and the skin on the outside of it is completely dead, and he falls onto the deck in extreme pain, grabbing his hand, just panting and crying from what he's had to just do. Rage.
Oh, okay. So I would like to retrieve Nathaniel, basically. So I want to run over to Nathaniel, kind of like pick him up like a baby, and then like just take him back down to the...
He offers no resistance at all. He's basically curled up in the fetal position, sobbing right now, holding his hand because he's burnt it, just to make sure he can get rid of that tentacle.
Can I whisper something to him to like calm him down?
What would you want to say?
You're so brave, and I'm so proud of you.
He tries to respond but can't through the extreme agony that's coursing through his body right now, but he definitely does hear you. He just curls into a tighter ball when you pick him up to make sure he's easy to carry because he doesn't want to be a bother to anyone.
Take him down to the downstairs area and just kind of like prop him up there.
You take him down the steps and you prop him up, and everyone else is pretty much standing back up. The captain is still almost knocked out. Mix has managed to stand back up and looks over to you. You never touch anything on this bandolier again, and what the hell is wrong with him? He says, pointing to the priest.
He burnt one of the tentacles with his hands.
God's sake, I'll finish the rest off. Mix goes to walk back up the stairs and starts pulling off various vials and just launching them into the sides as he goes. Mullac.
Look, I know that they're your vials, but we got one of the...
He's not even listening to you anymore. You say that and he's just walked back up the stairs and paid very little attention, just throwing them off. You're kind of shouting after him, we know you're your... No, he's gone.
Yeah, well, never mind. In that case, what kind of barrels are there?
Rolling around?
Yeah.
There's various ones. Some are corked up and some are sealed up with metal banding strips. You can hear that a few are sloshing around. You can hear a few are filled with sand, potentially some various powders or biscuits or ales or just general supplies. You wouldn't know until you open them up.
No. I'm going to take hope that one of these is potentially gunpowder. And I'm going to start lobbing them off towards the tentacles. Like the
barrels are big barrels, and they are in the hold that you're currently in, which means you would need to get them up the steps onto the deck of the ship.
Right, okay. Well, I take one and, drag it up the stairs, and I just kind of roll it off the deck towards a tentacle in hopes that whatever Mix is lobbing will...
combine with it.
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
That's 20. One finger throw.
You roll up a barrel that you think is important. You manage to drag it up the steps. You might need a bit of help with this.
You need my help?
Yeah, give us a chuckle.
After you have managed to lay Nathaniel down in a corner, just cradling his burnt hand, you can see that Mullac is struggling, taking a barrel up the steps of the boat.
I would like to just take 2 barrels up with one.
You actually roll a d20.
Oops. A 16.
You pick up a barrel, you pick up another, you walk up the steps, you actually lift your leg up and start kicking the barrel that's in front of you, which is the one that Mullac is dragging, and you end up kicking one in front of you by alternating legs and carrying 2 up. Eventually you manage to make it back onto the deck of the ship. The lightning has subsided and the rope has stopped swinging around. In fact, you can just about see the rope attached to the mast hanging down one side of the ship with a hand reaching from the top as Francis pulls himself back up and just flops onto the deck going, ha-ha, huzzah! Having a great time from just spinning around, hitting all the tentacles. He looks over to you. I say, what's in those barrels?
I don't know.
Brilliant! Let's find out.
I like this guy.
What's inside?
Are you going to throw them off the ship first because you don't have too much time?
Yeah, just chuck them.
Oh.
Might be gunpowder, might be biscuits.
You simply throw them off the edge. All 3 of them?
Yeah.
All 3 barrels land in the ocean and just start to float next to each other. And as that happens, the ship lurches once again to the side and then to the other side. You can hear things in the hold being thrown around. You can see Mix himself just throwing various vials and missing most of the throws as he goes around, holding on to the end as tight as he can. And you can see that Francis has pretty much got his arm wrapped around one of the pillars on the edge of the boat because he thinks it's going to be thrown back off again. He's trying to make sure that doesn't happen. And as the boat lurches to the side, you see that underwater mouth again open up. The boat almost gets lifted slightly out the water as this mouth pushes up as well. But as it raises up, it causes almost a vortex where all the water around it is being pulled into it. And this includes the 3 barrels that are there as well. Yemmara.
We're going to find out what's in those barrels. So I see her push those up, and I'm going to run over to the edge again and try basically the same thing. Let's do it again. This better work this time. And I'm just going to, with my other hand, because I did it with my non-dominant hand last time. That's clearly why it didn't work. So I'm going to use my dominant hand to throw a fireball once I see it kind of going into its actual mouth.
The ship leans to the side, raises up. Again, the tentacles of this thing are massive. They're beginning to wrap over the deck this time and wrap around the ship itself. Some of them have coiled around the base and are lifting it up, almost as if it's positioning it over the mouth before it drops it in and starts chewing away at the wood underneath. But the 3 barrels are starting to almost be sucked into this giant thing's face. What's your plan?
Just going to throw a fireball straight towards the 3 barrels to try and hit one of them. 2.
You launch the fireball as hard as you can. It's powerful, it's dense, it's hot, and as it swirls toward the 3 barrels, one of the tentacles realizes what you're doing, lashes through the air, and sacrifices itself by slapping the fireball away, curling around the heat itself, and as you can see, it burns the tentacle away. You see the 3 barrels descend into this thing's mouth, just out of sight. The fireball missed. Plan B?
Guys, it didn't work.
Oh no.
Are there torches on the boat?
I like your thinking.
Yes, but
Lanterns.
only downstairs in the hold, and they are not currently lit. You'd have to find a way to light.
Time to go down, grab one, bring it up, and then have her light it.
You'd have to use your effectively reckless attack dash actions to just recklessly dive down the stairs, grab a torch, and just sprint back up. You're not attacking anything specifically, but you are being reckless.
Okay, so as my bonus action, dash down the stairs,
Mhm.
grab the torch,
Mhm.
run back upstairs.
As you run back upstairs, you hear, "Wait, I can do that. I know what you're about to do." Nathaniel runs toward and without asking just clamps his hand around your torch, hurts himself again and falls to the floor, but it's lit.
Okay. Do you still have that rope?
This one.
Hold the edge.
Oh.
So with my other hand, I just kind of want to, I don't know, I've thought this through. I want to jump over the edge and just kind of dive for the barrels.
You're going to dive into and stick the flaming torch into the pile of swirling barrels as it swirls into this thing's mouth. Roll the d20.
Think this through. It's a 10.
Mullac, you
Yeah.
can see that this is about to happen. Is there
Yeah.
any assistance? Because Rage is going to need some help to get out of this creature
Yeah.
if the barrels ignite. We don't know what's in them yet, but if they ignite.
Yeah, I'm going to run over to Yemmara, grab the rope with her. I'm like, quick, pull. And I'm going to start winching Rage up before she's even at the bottom.
Rage, you run, you leap over the side. You effectively stick this torch down. You actually have one of the tentacles see you doing this, and it flaps towards you to try and knock you out of the sky the same way the fireball did. But as you are going down with your hammer, you just smack it away as you continue to fall down, and then you chuck this torch down this thing's maw.
If I'm holding the rope in my left hand, I won't have time for my hammer.
Can you kick it away?
Get away.
You're going to fall down and just kick this thing away as you go, which actually Francis looks over and is like, "Ah, bloody good, using the foot as a punch." You drop the flaming torch only a few inches away from the barrels. You see a cork pop out from the barrel and a black powder begin to kind of spray out of it. One of the bits of black powder catches a fleck and you suddenly see a spark jump from all of them and then into the barrel. Everything slows down for a second for you as you see the barrel start to turn from wood to yellow to white and then very quickly expand away from itself, effectively blowing up. As this happens, how are we getting her back on the ship?
Me and Yemmara are already just reeling her in with the rope that she went down on.
Yeah.
You manage to reel in working together and pull powerfully.
Heave.
It is a
Oh.
single fling. You don't realize how powerful this is going to be, and you almost go from moving down to moving straight back up. You're actually flung into the sky, maybe about 7 or 8 meters above the deck of the ship, before you then crash back onto it. Thankfully landing on a wooden box full of brown bits of paper that seems to have been opened earlier, which cushions your fall somewhat. And then a little silver chalice with the word Mary inscribed on it begins to roll toward the edge of the ship and almost falls off into the ocean.
With my left leg, I just kind of want to catch it with my toe.
You
My
manage,
boot.
as it falls off, you
Toe
just about grab it with your foot and you stop this falling away to make sure that Captain Liam has still got the present for his daughter when they arrive. The explosion happens. You hear some horrible gurgling and hissing, and the ship is lurched entirely to one side. Mix, the alchemist, almost falls off the side, but just about grabs the handrail as he does, and then looks around very proudly that clearly whatever he's done has worked, and something has blown up, and he has definitely stopped the squid in its tracks. He is super proud of himself.
Yeah.
He knows that he's done some good stuff. The ship is blown to the side. The captain staggers back up the actual steps and looks around just in time to see all of the tentacles begin to crease and then snap and contort and bend in horrible ways before, instead of retreating back into the ocean, they all just stop and all start to sink at the same time. The squid's body has been ripped in half by the explosion of 3 gunpowder barrels underneath it. Fantastic job finding the gunpowder. Francis simply looks over the thing and then looks over at you. I say, I thought they were biscuits. I honestly thought we were feeding the thing. That was bloody lucky, wasn't it? How did you know it was gunpowder?
I didn't. I just, odds are 3 of them might get some biscuits, some gunpowder, some lemonade. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness, we're adventuring together again. I love it. You didn't know. Oh, what fun we're going to have. Oh, could have died. Didn't like it when that happens. He stands up and just dusts himself off. Mix walks over to all of you. Right. Now I've solved that problem. I'm going to bed. I don't expect to be bothered by any of you. Night.
Sorry, who are you?
He walks down the steps, ignoring you completely, and tries to go to sleep. But as he does, you see him stop at the top of the steps and kind of look down. Oh, dear. The captain walks over to all of you and starts to thank you, and then you start to feel the ship is lurching slightly. And then Brother Nathaniel runs up from the hold, clutching his hands. Now it's even more in pain. I think the explosion tore a hole in the side of the ship.
So we sink?
How big is the hole?
About barrel size.
Oh, well, big enough, right.
The captain runs across the deck and leans down and has a look down the actual steps himself. Right, we are definitely going down, but we can make it. It's over there. He points into the distance and you can see just on the horizon land. And you can just about make out the small village of Sailor's Rest. It's probably within distance if you can boost the ship to it.
Instead of boosting the ship to it, can I find some planks and ask people to find planks and then do a little bit of mending on it?
It is a big hole.
I thought it was a barrel-sized hole.
Well, it's barrel-sized hole, but water is gushing in from the ocean right now.
Okay, gotcha. Let's just stand on the top and jump once we get to the edge. How good are you at swimming?
Really good. Yeah.
Might come in handy.
As you are discussing this, you just hear a "fixed it again" shout from the hole down below. You peek down and you see that the hole itself is frozen. And Mix is simply lying next to it with his hand flicking up the pin of something that he's thrown onto it. But clearly he has thrown some kind of liquid or vial onto this ingress of water, which has instantly frozen the entire thing and acts as a giant ice plug. It won't last long, but it will just about last long enough to get the ship back to land. With immediate danger averted and the squid blown up and the ship fixed for the time being, everyone just takes a moment to relax and catch their bearings. The captain, Liam, sits down on top of the deck, nursing his head from one hell of a headache that he had. Nathaniel is in the corner, rocking backward and forward, holding his burnt and crisped up hand, having effectively taken down one tentacle and then lit the torch as you had planned. And Francis is simply lying on the floor, looking up, almost holding his mace up to the sky and admiring the kraken blood that's on bits of it, and then looking at his buckler and then kind of working out what scratches were caused by the sucker that he was using as an anchor point as he was holding onto the thing himself. He's fascinated by the battle damage that has happened to this. And he's just staring at it. Mullac.
Yes.
The danger has been sorted for now, and you are probably about 20 minutes away from landing at Sailor's Rest.
Yeah. Now that we've got some time and it's a bit more chill, I'd walk up to Nathaniel and I'm like, do you need a hand with that hand?
He starts to laugh and then it stops because it hurts him too much. Sorry, I shouldn't have used that much. I'm not ready for that yet.
It's okay. You were very helpful. You were integral to that plan. Let me attempt to heal that for you.
As he takes his healthy hand away from the one that he's clasping, charred chunks of skin and flesh come away with the healthy hand. And the hand that he's effectively burnt all the way through, you can see down to the bone, and you can see parts of the muscle which has died, and he simply holds it towards you, not expecting much.
Yeah, so I'm going to cast heal, which is 1d8. That is a 6.
How would you heal this?
I'd take his hand in my hands, hold it, tight, and just use some sort of healing energy on it and kind of like microwave it.
Parts of the skin begin to stitch themselves back together, and parts of the muscle begin to start pumping blood again, and he almost winces in pain as it starts bleeding, which is good, because previously it was entirely cauterized and burnt up. But as the blood flow starts to come back to it, it hurts more, but he understands what you're doing. And as that happens, he just takes part of his robe, wraps it around his hand, and just squeezes it really tightly into his chest and just holding it. I'm really sorry, I won't do that again.
No, it's okay. You've like I say, you've been integral to the plan.
He just holds his hand in. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
You're very welcome. You're doing great.
Nathaniel simply sits and starts to catch his breath now, not entirely sure what to do.
I'd like to go over to Frankie and have a chat with him.
Francis is just lying down, looking at his weapons, entirely sprawled out on the deck, just holding his weapons up. Exhibitody, I've got to say, that was a tad exciting, wasn't it? Goodness me! Whew.
And I kind of want to run and just kind of like jump, but land with my butt on the deck. So like butt to deck first. And just like sit there and be like, that was so cool. You like went up there and then like you grabbed that and then you slashed and then you went this and then you went woo. And then you did, it was so cool.
Oh, he said to join you. Well, I wanted to hit it and it was too far away. So I just thought, well, I've got to be closer. So I jumped a little bit closer. You don't always think things through. Well, trained for this kind of stuff, haven't you?
Me?
I assume so. You're a skilled fighter, skilled warrior?
No.
I see. Strong though, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I'm still a little bit strong.
He stands up with a new sense of energy, kind of invigorated now. He steps back and he holds his buckler towards you and pulls his mace back. Okay. Hit me.
Okay. And I'm going to take
pull out
my
the massive hammer
and just kind of, you ready?
Go for it.
100%?
Go for it. Hit me as hard as you can.
Okay. And I kind of want to swing all the way around to get the momentum and then just kind of like with my left foot first, just start drive it straight into his buckler.
Cool. He sees what you're doing, waits for it, and then as soon as you drive it towards you, he steps toward you, puts a hand behind your shoulder, and using your own momentum, just spins you straight across the deck and throws you to the side. You are thrown across and smash into the edge of the ship, but not overboard.
What did you just do?
Oh, right. So, you're strong, no doubt about that. But you're violent. You're not skilled. You need to understand it's not about how big what you're fighting is. It's about where you hit it, and where you put the strength, and where you put the force and the momentum. I mean, example, we took that down, didn't we? That's far bigger than both of us. With a bit of training and a bit of understanding of physics, you could probably use your strength far better. Come on, hit me again.
Okay.
Rage and Francis spend some time trading blows between each other. But every time you swing at him, he is nowhere near as strong as you are, but he is far more skilled and subtle. He throws you repeatedly about the deck using your own force and very little of his. And every now and again, once you have overreached with the hammer, he simply steps back and then hits you, just playfully, with the mace. You can tell he's not putting anywhere near as much force as he can behind it, but he finds it intriguing that you've got so much strength that's not directed to anything specifically. So he spends some time, because he enjoys doing this, teaching you how to fight better. Yemmara.
So I'm going to go and hang out with the captain. How long have we got till we arrive? I don't know how long that ice is going to hold.
Liam is currently kneeling down, nursing his leg and his head.
Who's steering, by the way?
We're close enough now that we'll just drift in. It's not a problem.
Well, I'm glad, because I wouldn't know how to do this.
Oh, you just turn this big wheel and point where you want to go. It's not as difficult as anyone makes it sound. My head.
Are you feeling okay?
No, I got stabbed in the leg and then hit in the head. And my ship is broken. But, this is my last
sure,
voyage, and I
yeah,
get to see Mary
I was about to say the same thing. It's your last visit, so who cares if the ship is broken?
It'd be a heck of a way to go, wouldn't it?
You know, you could claim on insurance for that.
Oh, I don't know what that is. You rich, pompous people have got all these words for things. I built this ship with my own bare hands, and if it breaks on the last voyage, it just shows it's served its purpose, doesn't it?
So how many times has this happened before?
Oh, Kraken attacks, once or twice.
A year? A month?
Oh, just once or twice in general.
Just in general?
Yeah.
What? Why is it here?
Oh, I've got no idea. They say there's rumors. Evil attracts evil, vampiric energy, calling things from the depths, that kind of stuff. But sometimes you just get unlucky.
Huh.
Sometimes the ocean's just a cruel mistress.
Yeah, I didn't think vampires and squids normally mix together.
You'd be amazed the amount of magical energy that things can attract. The captain stands up and begins to rub his own head. Right, I'm going to head down to the hold, do a final stock check. I'm assuming, because of what I think I heard earlier, we are out of gunpowder.
Yeah, I think it was what caused the explosion, which is great.
And biscuits, potentially.
Oh, God's sake. I was looking forward to those. It's fine. It's fine. It stopped the squid. I'll get over it. Liam slowly hobbles his way back down the steps into the hold. And Mix is still asleep in the hold, trying to get a bit of shut-eye. But as the captain walks down, you just hear him shout, "Be quiet!" as the captain walks past. Mullac, you can see the village in the distance. It's starting to loom into view more.
Yeah. While I'm downstairs and while Mix is, I assume, sat kind of like guarding the ice hole that he's...
Mix is basically just lying down next to it on one of the hammocks that's hanging up on the ship.
I pour a drink in the basement and I head over to him and I'm just like, one before departure?
No, go away. Leave me alone. Don't ever want to see you again. Didn't want to see you in the first place.
Okay, 2 for me then. And I head back upstairs and go and chill with the girls.
What's up with that guy?
I have no idea. I really want to punch him in the face.
Please.
Oh my God.
I would pay to see you do that.
Yeah, I like punching.
Yeah. I think it's going to have to happen at some point.
What did you say his name was?
Mix.
Oh, Mix. Okay. I'm going to go bug him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do. We've probably got about 20, 30 minutes left of this. Just really get on his nerves.
Okay.
You're just still finishing your training with Francis, and as he overhears this, he goes, "I say, are you going to go and, have shenanigans with that alchemist chap downstairs? I've got to be honest, I tried to speak to him. A bit of a ne'er-do-well, if you ask me. He doesn't seem like he's a people person."
What does that mean?
Are you going to go and annoy the chap downstairs with the glass orbs?
Yes.
All right, have fun. Francis just sits down and starts to look over the ocean, not too bothered about what you're doing now.
Okay, I'd like to head downstairs to Mix.
As you do, as soon as you step on the actual stairs, they start to creak and you hear, "Be quiet, we've got 20 minutes until we're at land, I want to have a nap."
Hi, Mix.
Please go away.
I have a question.
Oh God, what?
What's that on your shoulder?
Are you going to actually touch the shoulder?
No, just point.
Roll the d20.
11.
I will tell you for a shiny silver piece. Trust me, it's worth the story.
Okay, here you go.
Takes it off you. It's a thing I wear on my shoulder to make idiots ask questions about, and then I charge the money for what it is. It's remarkably effective. He begins to continue laughing to himself. While he's annoying you, Yemmara.
I'm going to, come and walk back down. I see that you have come up with some drinks, and I'm like, I will get on that, whatever that is.
I hand you one. I've got a spare one.
Oh, thank you. How are you feeling? Are you okay? You didn't take any damage, did you?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I came out relatively unscathed from that fight, thanks to our little brother Nathaniel. But I am cautious. The guy downstairs is not.
I don't like him. I don't trust him.
No, I feel there's something off about him.
No, his attitude at least.
Yeah. Oh, at the very least.
And they call me noble.
Captain Liam has pretty much finished the stock check by now and walks back up from the hold onto the deck of the ship. Currently, he's the only person on the deck as everyone else has headed down into the hold. You still have Nathaniel clutching his hand and hoping that it heals. You have Francis, who has kind of pottered down the stairs to have a look around, seeing as he's not spent too much time down here yet, and is just picking up random sacks and seeing what's in them, and then just admiring the wall really closely, because he's just fascinated by the nails that are in it and how it all works. Everything in the world just seems endlessly interesting to him. So he's just admiring everything. And as you're all down in the hold, and as you're all looking at each other, and as the huge ice plug is holding, you just hear from the deck an almost guttural, "Oh God, no."
It's been 2 minutes since the last disaster. I charge upstairs to go see what's happening.
I still want to talk to Mix.
You still want to try and talk to Mix?
I'm going to just watch as he goes. Where are you going? You haven't finished your drink.
Don't know. Who's on the deck that I can see?
Captain Liam standing on the front of the ship, looking toward Sailor's Rest.
Right, I run up to Liam and I'm like, what's going on?
Liam is staring out toward the city of Sailor's Rest as smoke rises toward the sky and the entire village is burning down.
Oh, damn, yeah. That's not good.
Oh, no.
He's simply standing and watching. And as you can see it burning, black shapes are swooping through the sky, picking up humanoid shapes and then dropping them from great heights back down onto the village. You can just about make out, on the actual shoreline itself, a melee battle being completely won by one side.
Oh no. Is it our side?
You don't know who the sides are yet, but you have a sneaking suspicion that the flying demonic-style creatures
Are not our side.
are not yours.
Right.
Liam is simply staring out into the village himself, unsure of what to say, his eyes glazing over.
What's the plan?
He doesn't reply to you. He doesn't quite know.
Yemmara, you might want to come back and see this.
I come upstairs and say, what's going on?
You see the same sight, a burning village over in the distance, with black swooping shapes flying down, picking things up and then dropping them onto the floor again. And as the ship gets closer, you begin to make out that the shapes are roughly humanoid, but are definitely not human.
You said that the Horde wasn't going to be here.
Liam's not sure what to say to you. He's just staring at you.
They said, we can't go towards this. Can we turn back?
You think by now that you've attracted the attention of whatever is on the shore, and you hear a whoosh through the sky as you look down onto the deck next to you and see a black oaken charred arrow ping into the actual deck itself. You're being shot at from the village. You're just within archer range now.
We can't go back. There's the hole. It's not going to hold.
You're right. We're going to have to get off, but where else can we dock? Is there anywhere else to dock?
As you're discussing this, a few more people head up from the hold. First of all, you see Nathaniel kind of limping up, walking over to the side, looking up and then going, "Oh God, no. No, they weren't meant to be here. They were meant to be miles away. This is meant to be a thing. We can't go. We can't go turn the ship around. We can't go this way. We have to help the people. We have to help the people. Go forward. Go forward faster."
Well, we can't go back.
I'd like to still be talking to Mix.
Talking to Mix, he's not even paying attention to what's going on.
So you have a blue one, a green one, a white one.
Oh my
and then
God.
one little thing. And then that one, the swirlies.
Yes, that's gas, not liquid. That's how gas works.
I've never seen gas before.
Everyone
Actually-
has seen gas. It's literally in the air. That's why it's called gas.
Oh, well, see, the only gas I know about is that it comes from my bum. And then my mum says I'm naughty when I do it. But I think it's funny. But then you had to have a gas one. Does yours stink? Does it smell? How did you bottle it? Did you, how did you...
Have you ever played the quiet game?
No, what's the quiet game?
It's a game where you be quiet for as long as you can and the winner gets a coin.
Yes! Okay, I'm really good at this one. My mom always plays it with me all the time.
Good.
Ready?
Yes.
You have to count down.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Count down in your head.
From what?
I did a million. Count down on your head for 1,000,000. And when you get to 0, just stop it. Please, stop talking to me. I don't want to interact with you. I don't know you. I don't like you. I have saved you from a kraken. I have plugged up a hole that you have made in the ship. Everything about this journey has been awkward because of you people on the ship. I just wanted to get some vampiric blood and sell it and be gone.
I like shiny blood too.
Nick stands up and then walks up the stairs to avoid you. And as he gets onto the ship, the deck, you hear him go, "Oh, God, no, there's way too many."
I'd like to come bounding up the stairs after him. And then when I see that, I'm like...
You can hear in the distance screams. You can hear the crackling of buildings as they burn down and the snapping and splintering of timbers. And then you can hear, increasing in frequency, thuds of more arrows as they start to hit the deck of the ship, a few of the arrows themselves on fire. However, the fire is quickly put out when it hits into the sodden deck of the ship itself. You are now within shortbow range, and you are going to dock in about 5 to 10 minutes, but 5 to 10 minutes within arrow range is a bad idea. Everyone is currently standing on the deck, and you can see that this village is under attack. People are being absolutely slaughtered, and Captain Liam doesn't know what to do. He's just frozen, staring forward. But you cannot turn around. Mullac, do you have a plan?
I do.
What's the plan?
I think we need to go full sails and all get below deck until we essentially just battering ram into the shore.
Rage?
I will just follow suit.
And Yemmara?
You think that will work?
I can't think of a better plan.
Okay. Is there anything around us that I can tell him to grab to like stick under the wheel essentially so that it carries on in one direction?
There's various bits of ropes. The one thing that is happening right now is the sails are not fully unfurled.
Okay. As I see that, we need to get the sails unfurled.
Yep.
Then we'll stick something. Get something to put under here.
Already on it! You hear a lovely pompous voice shout as Francis effectively runs forward, bounds, and begins to climb up the rigging at the side. Sticking his mace to the side and taking out a very small knife from his pocket, he slices a bit of cloth and another big sail unfurls, and as soon as it catches the wind, the ship lurches forward at quite a substantial speed. It almost knocks him off. My goodness! I always forget ships can do that.
I pick up the nearest crate. Here you go.
I can't hold it. Shove it under there.
I shove it onto there.
And I let the wheel. I let
There
the wheel
is
then
the wheel,
lock onto it.
and as you do, the shove is a little bit too powerful, and you just smash the crate underneath it. Francis is again looking down. Bloody hell, she's strong. God, if she had technique, she'd be able to take anyone down.
That'll do. Okay. Underneath?
All below deck. Yeah, let's do it. I start ushering them all down.
Nathaniel walks over to you. We're not going to make it in time. There's too many arrows, but I have an idea. But I need your help again.
Okay, what's the plan?
Just don't let me die. He runs up and stands behind the sails, jumping onto a box, and holds up his good hand. He begins to generate as much heat as he possibly can in this hand, and as that happens, you see the sail almost billow out slightly more, catching the hot air from what he's generating and pushing you forward again. The ship increases in speed once more, and as it does, he shakes his hand off. It's charred and red, but not black like the last time, and he holds it toward you.
I go to heal his hand again the same way I did before.
The ship has now gathered enough speed that you are about to do a full-on assault landing effectively onto the dock within about 30 seconds. Arrows are flying at you more, but most of them are missing. If you hit while you are under deck, you will likely just be crushed against the floor itself that you're effectively hitting into. So it's likely you'll need to be on the deck and leap off as soon as you dock.
Yeah, I think we all need to be on the front of the boat ready so that when we smash in, we can just basically jump off and join the attack.
I'm going to climb up a little bit so I'm not just at the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be
Yeah,
a little bit higher to jump off.
You jump up a couple of the bits of rigging and stand on one of the wooden struts and
I'm just,
beams
like,
along
holding
support,
on.
holding on to it.
My arm wrapped
Arrows
around
are
the
still
rope.
flying towards you, but there's not that many, and you're pretty much able to dodge them as you go around. Even if a few do fly towards you, you can just hide behind the wooden beam that you're on instead. Rage.
I have absolutely no idea what to do.
Get to the front of the ship.
Okay. I run to the front of the ship and I stand on the very edge and I'm just kind of like...
And as soon as you do, an arrow flies straight towards you, and just as it's about to hit you, a small buckler pushes itself in your way and pings it out the way. You feel a hand on your shoulder grab and turn to you, and it's Francis. I know you're strong, but pay attention. You need more technique than you've got. Don't die. He pushes you down pretty much and cowers with you as you're hiding on the front of the ship behind the handrail on the front of the ship. Huge big wooden beams and boards as he's keeping you safe while you effectively assault land into this. Mullac, where are you?
I am heading up to the front of the ship. Who's still below deck?
Right now, nobody.
Nobody. Okay, cool. I'm last one out then, and
Mix is cowering at the back of the ship behind as much stuff as he can possibly stack up, just waiting for the landing and trying to avoid all of the arrows.
Right. I head to the back of the ship to Mix, and I'm like, get your ass to the front.
Nope. You're
a
not taking on
coward.
vampires. Nope. Not taking on vampires at all. Nope. Go away.
We're going to need you if we fight them.
Go away.
You're going to be left alone on the ship and you will die.
Good. Leave me alone.
Okay, so be it. And I head back to the front.
The ship is pulling close now, and you start to hear some crunches. You're able to just peek over from hiding behind all of the debris that you're on the ship right now. The village is completely on fire. Buildings are burning down, thatched roofs have fallen in, and the streets are flooded with small but vicious vampiric spawn, with a few larger ones flying over the top. You all brace, and the ship smashes up against the shoreline, crashing and destroying the wooden dock that you were meant to be docked to. Everything lurches forward. All of the stuff under in the hold rolls forward. Everything on the deck flies forward and crunches. And as you smash and break onto the land, you need to depart. How are you getting off the ship?
I am going to jump straight over the front onto the shoreline. And try and find some cover on the shoreline.
It's not even necessarily the shoreline now. You've actually smashed through most of the dock, and you are jumping onto the city's, the village streets, if you will, near the very edge. It's almost an assault landing into the town itself.
Yeah, so I depart from the assault boat into the streets. And
as soon as you land, a couple of vampiric spawn turn their twitchy heads towards you, and claws extend from their hands.
I draw my rapier ready.
Rage, how are you leaving the boat?
I would like to turn to Frankie and say, nod, thank you, let's go. And then I want to just like move from his thing and kind of just leap with one hand, pushing myself off and vault over the top of the boat.
He realizes what you're about to do, and so copies your exact movements, but mirrored on the other side. So you both nod at each other, and then on opposite sides, vault over the very front of the boat. The very, very front point has smashed up onto land, veered up quite a bit, and you both vault over the side, landing perfectly on the ground. And as you do, he stands up, grabs the buckler, swings his mace around. Oh, tally, oh, indeed. Huzzah, some vampires. As a few more vampiric spawn pull claws and run toward you. Anything you would like to do or say?
Copy, and I can take my hammer and go, huzzah, yeah, wah, yeah.
Just that laugh as well is included. You just make lots of noise.
Okay,
Yemmara.
so the front of the ship comes up a little bit before it.
Yep, it almost smacks.
So
up
I'm like
and down.
holding on to one of the rigging up, kind of midway. So I'm not like too high, but I'm a little bit higher than the front of the nose. And as it kind of like crashes in, as it crashes down again, just as it comes down, I'm going to just try and like just hop off and then just walk away.
So it's beautiful. So it's almost like you're standing there, you're
Just
waiting
like,
for it to just about hit the exact level
Yeah,
of the road,
I'm like
and you just
waiting.
step off lovely.
Okay.
You step off beautifully, and as you do, a little chittering vampiric spawn runs up to you as well and almost steps back at your implied nobility of departing from this ship. Behind you, scrambling off it, you hear the priest. Nathaniel kind of scrambles off and then just stands around and everything. And then Mix is nowhere to be seen right now. The last person you see when you look up onto the ship, still standing on the very front, still completely stunned in silence, is Captain Liam. Not entirely sure what to make of the fact that he's watching the village where his daughter lives burn down right now, and arrows are still flying past him as they go. And then one flies directly into him.
No.
He doesn't move at first. He just looks down. And then another, and then another.
No.
And then he looks down again. And he looks over at you. It's my last day and everything. You just see him fall back onto the ship. Not kneeling, just falling out of sight. As he falls back onto the ship, a small horde of chittering small vampires run toward you and begin to surround you. You're all standing there. Mullac Drab with rapier ready. Rage standing there with a massive hammer pulled taut. And Yemmara, are you going to conjure some kind of fireball?
No, I'm going to grab the fire that's on one of the houses right now. So that I'll pull it towards me.
You're effectively pulling the actual
control
fire
the flame.
itself away from the building into a congealed fireball in
ready
your own
to
hand.
shoot it off.
Standing next to you is Nathaniel, incredibly scared and unsure what to do, almost cowering behind you. Standing next to you, Rage, is Francis, looking like he's ready for a fantastic time, with his buckler and his mace ready, and somewhere on the ship is Mix the Alchemist. As you need to assault land into Sailor's Rest, which we will find out more about next episode.
Every time!